Okay, so I have a sign that my daughter thinks is ridiculous, and it's a caricature of Snoopy. And it says, "In my defense, I was left unsupervised." So that is me in a nutshell. I am all about fun. So this is interactive, asking questions, but let me give you a little history about me and how things work for me as a psychic, because I don't know how it works for anybody else, and we're all personally have our own journey. I have listened to the birds and the bees and the plants for a lifetime. When I was a very small child, the first memories I have was between 3 and 5. I kept telling my siblings, I'm the youngest of 5, and said, "Don't do that. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it." And I got this look on their face. So I got really fast learning curve of, nobody hears what I hear. So I stopped talking about it because it was very weird in my family. They were all athletes and very busy people. So I thought, okay. So about, gosh, this is June, right? So about August of last year, I found out that my mentor, who's a pet psychic, was retired, and she came to me and said, and she's in Texas, so came to me was a phone call conversation, because weird things kept happening in my life. And people kept needing me to explain things that were very much in what we call the woo-woo area. And she said, no, I'm retired. You need to go public and read animals for a living and do this. And Barbara and I had never met face to face. We've been working together for 20 years, but I had never met Barbara. She read for me from Texas, and I can do the same. I don't need a pet in residence. They're wonderful. But imagine the conversation if you all had pets in the room. They'd all be having their own conversation. I can't wait to smell that guy. He must smell wonderful. Or let's go smell that plant in the corner. Or let's go. There's an entire conversation going on with your pets all the time. What I find is people who are really passionate about their pets, their animals speak better because you speak to them. Obviously you do. He's got a great vocabulary. He's very expressive. You talked about this amazing cat, Maine Coon, right?
No. Yes.
Yes, the big one, like a dog in fur. Amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that while we were setting up and that kind of stuff. These animals are very intuitive and very responsive, and you know that having them in your lives. So for me, I have never needed an animal in my presence because it's your relationship. It's your connection that I see. What I read is what you bring with your question. I've read grandbabies, meaning somebody's daughter's son's animal. That woman from Texas, I read for her a week or so ago, and she was very concerned about her son's dog. She took care of it part-time. She dearly loved this animal, but there were questions and issues and physical things, and she, again, was in Texas. We had a great time talking about things. I am not just a pet psychic. I've spent my life studying animals. I just came from almost 10 years in a wildlife sanctuary, and so I'm very versed in wildlife. Did I talk to them? Nope. Because in that arena, having somebody who says, ooh, I'm a pet psychic, you usually get walked out the door. Because people historically have dangerously put their hand in the cage saying, oh, I speak to the animals. And they are the ones that get this place shut down because they got injured or something like that. So I left my gift at home and did what I love doing, enrichment, cleaning cages, and giving educational programs. Do I like speaking in public? Very much. Communication is kind of our thing, and I've been raised to talk in public, and I love it. Jokes are my thing, so I'm going to make it light and friendly, and I want it to be something we both get out of it, and something we both understand. So any of your questions, feel free to ask whatever you're comfortable sharing, obviously in a public forum. It should be not only educational, but fun, and hopefully I can resolve some questions. I talk a lot up to just as many pets that have passed as ones that are currently living. But remember, it is free will. Your animal has the free right to communicate the same as we do. They can turn me down and say, oh, no, I don't know who you are, I don't want to talk about that, and I haven't told. No, we're not going to talk about that. And there's usually a reason. You can't handle what really happened, or it's not constructive, it's not educational, or the pet can't deal with it. That's rarely the case, that the pet can't deal with it. They're very matter of fact. But again, it's a two-way conversation. I can ask them to come. Your connection is how they come, because they see me talking to you and say, oh, Mom wants to talk. Let's do this. And they're very open to that. But it is a free choice. They do have the right to say no. And I can't do anything about that, just like anybody does. What I see is miraculous sometimes. I have now been a part of 2 passings, currently reading the animal as it passed, and got to actually talk to one of my best friend's sisters a year after she passed. And she got to show us her experience and that kind of stuff. It's magical. It's really, really magical. So I feel blessed to be where I am. But as I started to say, I'm not just a pet psychic. I also have training. I have trained animals for years, therapy animals, and my passion is in rescues. So all of our pets we've had have been rescued from the shelter. And I also worked in a vet clinic. So when this cat was passing, I actually walked the owner through CPR because I know how to do that. And I was on the phone. She was in Massachusetts. And I walked her through CPR, knowing full well hours before that Kitty was going to pass. But as an owner, wouldn't you want to feel like you did everything you could and you need that closure? As opposed to me saying, give up, this is not going to help. No, you should really feel, because maybe we're wrong. Maybe the world has a different plan for us. So with that, I hope that you get a better idea about my gift. Every psychic, I'm sure, is very different on what they can and cannot read. And I'm really loving my growth curve, because every day I learn from you guys. I get another story, I get another, oh my gosh, I never saw that, I never heard that. Last time I was here, my favorite reading was actually from the Humane Society young woman that Judy invited, and her pet had been, quote unquote, killed by her stepmom. So yeah, it was tragic. And Kitty came in a few minutes after she's explaining, and he says, why does this keep coming up? I wasn't there. I wasn't there. And I'm thinking, what? She said you were there. She drove over you. They saw the body. And then I asked her, I said, okay, you know animals. This isn't physically possible that your stepmom walked out of the door, walked down the sidewalk, got in a car, turned the car on, and then drove over this cat. What's wrong with this picture? The cat would have moved, heard her. Oh, she went really, really quick. Not that quick unless she's a ghost. Because the car was electric. They had a lot of reasons why she felt so guilty that this happened. But again, Kitty's constantly saying, I wasn't there, I wasn't there. Okay, Kitty, explain when I'm not there. Can any of you guess? Kitty had passed before the car was turned on. So Kitty wasn't there. That's the only way you